Hi there. Welcome back to AskAmy. I have a question today from Alisha, and this question is interesting because right as it came in, I got several questions that were basically identical. So I know this is something that people go through a lot. I know for sure that this is going to be very relatable because I've heard this from many people just in the last week or so. But forever, really. This is so how it looks and so not how it is. So let me read Alicia's question. So she says, I'm writing to you in a very tormented and anxious mind. I found your book back in June, and prior to opening it, had come to what felt like a dead end. I've had anxiety my whole life that came to a head after having my son 9 years ago. And then slowly I came to manage it, and it came back with a vengeance 2 years ago when I fell pregnant with my second child. In June, I had exhausted all avenues of therapies, medications, and all that everyone tries, and suicide, and what's the point of life if I feel like this was on my mind constantly prior to your book. When I read your book, it was so new and amazing and reassuring that I did a complete 360 and was back thinking calm, able to sit and watch TV and relax, she says in all caps, able to be on my own at night, whereas previously I'd suffered from insomnia and fear of going to bed alone. A few weeks ago, anxious thoughts came back, and I panicked to fix them again and to no avail. So now I sit here in what feels like square one, and I'm spiraling into crippling anxiety, full of fear, dread, and hopelessness. So I scramble through your podcasts and Google trying to find what happened for me in June to no avail. I hear you say, sit quiet, let the mind relax, don't believe everything you think, and wait for wisdom to come, but that feels impossible once more. I know on an intellectual level that this is true, but my head is so tormented I'm not functioning at home or at work. Please, can you help shine light on it? Because sitting quietly or waiting for it to pass just doesn't feel like an option. I can't sit for a minute. I scramble Google to see if it's common to lose your way, or am I just the broken one who couldn't get it, but to no avail? And I wonder how many of us have felt this and for a long time, and how they slowly step away from this relapse. So first of all, Alisha, I mean, almost everyone I know feels this way. Almost everyone has a period, whether it's with anxiety or moods that we're afraid of or habits, anything. We hear something, we see something new, we fall into that space where things are different, we feel it more like ourselves. The anxiety goes away for a little bit. The habits go away for a little bit. And then that old energy comes up. That, what I just described, and again, whether that energy looks and feels like what we call anxiety or depression or a habit or anything, does not matter. That sort of way things go is the norm. There is absolutely nothing rare or unusual or mysterious or broken or different about you, not in the least. And I cannot say that strongly enough. This is how it goes. This is how it goes. Now, all that's happening is some habitual energy came back and you got afraid of it and started resisting it and started saying, no, you can't be here. You can't be here. And that just grows it. That just brings it to life that much more in our experience. Your mind got super busy, Googling everything, searching everything, listening to all the podcasts from a place of, I'm broken, it's back, I knew it couldn't be this good, square one. And that's what you're experiencing. That is all you're experiencing. It's not that anxiety has come back. Honestly, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. It's not that my habit has come back. It doesn't work that way. Habit and anxiety and depression, these are concepts. They're high-level labels. All that happened is some energy came back. Maybe a behavior showed back up. Maybe a worry. Maybe a sensation that your mind calls anxiety. It showed back up. Of course it did. Of course it did. It will. It was always going to. It's not that It's not that we're sick and something's wrong with us and then that departs and it's never going to come back again, because the energy we were feeling that we called our problem, my anxiety, my habit, my depression, that was never that to begin with. It's just energy. And energy, like the way our psychological experience works, it is very habitual. And our brain is very efficient and our mind is very efficient, and it brings this stuff back up. It is not a problem. That you had this period of feeling really good and then had some anxious thought and feeling come back, not a problem. I promise you that was always going to happen. The reason this is translated into all of this suffering is because your mind has decided that is a problem and that isn't supposed to be happening. And your mind is wrong. I mean, minds are wrong. Our mind doesn't know. Our mind does not know. Of course your mind's wrong. So I really want you to see that, to be in that. There is no problem. Nothing has come back. All that's happened is life, this fluid, varying flow of life is just flowing through you as it always will. And in that, your mind has picked out a chunk of that and said, this shouldn't be. This is wrong. And now I need to fix it. And now your mind is on this search to fix something that has no fix because it's not a problem. So I hear you saying or hearing in what you're listening to sit with this. You say, can you please shine a light on this? Because sitting quietly and waiting for it to pass doesn't feel like an option, because I can't sit for a minute. And it won't feel like an option when it looks to us like, okay, I have to sit in this god-awful, horrible, back to square one anxiety and wait for it to pass. Of course, that's not going to feel like an option, because that's telling you to just settle into misery and something horrible. But that's not really what we're saying here. That's not the case. It's not that you sit and wait for anything to pass, because even waiting for it to pass implies that it's wrong and it shouldn't be here. And it's not that we're sitting in something that's inherently horrible and painful. Life, no experience is inherently horrible or painful. No experience is inherently anxiety. There's just some energy, and then your mind has jumped in and said, I hate this feeling. It's back. Here we are again. That's what you're feeling that feels so scary, is your mind's narration, is this big screaming about something that's just safe and okay. So we can never sit in misery, of course not, but that's not what you need to do. I want you to just see that what you are feeling, all of it, the sensations, the mind screaming at you that you're back at square one and there's a problem, the resistance to what's showing up, all of it, 100% of it is perfect. There is nothing wrong with it. It is safe, fluid life. It is just energy moving through you. And of course, as you're pushing against it and fighting it, it's only going to feel worse. It's only going to feel like it's growing and sticking around. So I want you to keep seeing, like, what if it is safe, it is fine, you can handle it, it's just energy, it's sensations. What if you can explore the sensations a little bit? Welcome them when you're ready. Now, welcoming them might be way too big right now, and that's okay. But ultimately, think about this. Ultimately, when we have an open heart and we're open to anything that's showing up, there can't be a problem. There's just no problem. If we're saying, okay, you can be here, and you can be here, and you can be here, come on in. I'm curious about you. You can come along. Where's the problem in that? The only problem ever that we experience is when we're saying, no, you're not allowed, get out of here, you shouldn't be here. It's when we're fighting. It's when we're resisting. So I know it can feel like a big leap to go from being so afraid of your experience and being caught up in this story that it's bad and wrong and back to square one to not, to exploring, to saying, what does this really feel like? Let me feel the sensations physically. Let me notice the stories and the pictures my mind is scaring me with, to like lean into this experience and explore it a little bit. can feel like a leap, but that is the way through this, Alisha. I 100% promise you. There is nothing broken about you, and there is nothing broken about your experience right now. There is nothing wrong with what's happening. Nothing. It just feels really painful because your mind is telling you that it shouldn't be, and your mind is what's wrong. So lean into it, feel it, check it out, be curious about it, explore it a little bit, notice how it feels physically, notice those sensations, go right into them a little. What will happen is they will change, and you will see this firsthand when you experiment with it, but we don't do that. Our mind says, nope, anxiety, not going there, and then we push it away, and then it keeps banging at the door. And that's the misery that you're feeling. That is the only thing going on that's painful in your experience is resistance. When you feel what's there, there is nothing painful. I'm not saying it might not be a little scary or a little weird in the beginning, but as you lean into this stuff, we just see that it is all okay. It's all life. It's all just arising to be seen and felt, and it's all perfect exactly as it is. And as we're in it, it changes. It doesn't change when our mind is slamming the door saying, no, 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 go away. You're not supposed to be here. As we feel it, it changes. That's why happiness is so fleeting. That's why stuff we like, that we're open to, that we're like, ooh, give me more of that. That's why it comes and goes, because we're feeling it, and it comes and it goes. That's the only reason what you call anxiety doesn't feel like it comes and goes, because you're not feeling it. You're slamming the door on it and pushing it away. Okay, so there's no problem, no square one. All of that is just your mind throwing a fit. Hear all that and lean into what's happening, and I promise you, this will be different, because there truly is nothing bad happening. And thank you so much for sending this, because again, like I said, I got many of these questions just in a week. It was weird how they all kind of came together in a week. And I mean, all the time, whether it's habits, anxiety, anything that we think we're on the other side of, and then some of that comes back, it throws us for a loop, understandably, but it's a massive misunderstanding. There is no problem here. I hope this is helpful. Thank you so much for sending your question. Thanks everyone for listening, and I will see you back here next week.